Bitcoin most likely was created by some of those higher up technologists that worked for the government of sorts. The group of them who they say there's four. Who knows how many? If there's one, there's four. It doesn't really matter. They used old technology that the government has been using for a long time with your SHA-256 and the other stuff to create the blockchain, the algorithms, right? So I don't think it's just this guy who came out of nowhere, one lone Japanese fella that created, Mr. Satoshi Nakamoto. There's definitely more to the story. But even that, the fact is that because it's open source, it's decentralized, and people are building on it, working on it, improving upon it. In fact, the people at Ripple that developed the XRP, they worked on Bitcoin. And they tried to think of different real world issues, of problems that they could solve. And so it's been hugely inspirational to the population for people like me to really start looking into what is money. I never really looked into this as deeply until I came across Bitcoin. So Bitcoin was my entry into this whole world.
Yes.
And yes, it's the old guy in the room, but it's not going anywhere, in my opinion. And the fact that it does take so much energy, it's pushing people to create ways that they can use wasted energy. How can we make things more efficient? And so I think that's a good thing. And I think in the long run, we're going to see some pretty extraordinary things when it comes to electricity, you know.
Oh,
So
I think so too. If you don't mind, I'd like to add color in the lines a little bit about the history of Bitcoin.
oh, I think we got Simon in here.
Hey, Mr. Simon. Hey,
It
is that
is.
Simon Says
It is
Crypto?
Mr. Simon Says Crypto.
Hey, Mr. Simon Says Crypto. Good to see you here. So,
Raise your hand, buddy, if you want to talk.
yeah. So we on Tokens Radio Show, we did some research a few weeks ago, and what we have added to our conversation about the origins of Bitcoin, that basically it started well back into the 70s, and it started through the discovery of cryptography, and then it had evolved into the advent of the internet. And there were many technologists, cryptographists, if I'm saying that, cryptographer. Okay.
Cryptographist.
Yes. If yes, who technologists, let's call it this way, specializing in cryptography. They have tried to make a digital coin for years. And you know why they failed? Because they were all centralized. Each and every one of them was centralized. And you're right that it was a culmination of technologies that were available, maybe no longer used by the military. Some all still use, like SHA-256 is still a military grade application. GPS, TCP, IP, all of those applications, those technologies are all wrapped into Bitcoin. And even if that was centralized, it probably would have failed.
Yeah.
The reason why it was the only thing that was different is that it was decentralized and it was able to run on its own. It was never no ICO, an initial coin offering, or anything like that. Every one of the previous tries failed because they had a centralized component.
Yep.
Isn't that cool? I love that story.
Hey, Simon, I sent you an invite to speak. Did you get it? You gotta accept it.
So I found Mr. Man.
You did find Mr. Man?
Yeah. I can't get it on my tablet, but on my phone.
Spider-Man. Yeah, I really he's a super nice guy. I really like him.
Greetings.
There you are.
Greetings. Hey, Simon.
Simon
Hello, ladies.
says, how are you?
Hello.
I'm doing well. I saw both you on Spaces here, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen those ladies in a while. Wonder what they're listening to.
Yeah.
Well, they're talking. I love it.
This is our first time trying to do our show live while hosting a space. So
perfect. Okay, sounds wonderful. You guys are doing an awesome job. Well done.
We're trying.
Thank you.
We'll see how the recording goes when this is all over. Yeah. Do you have any 2 cents to add to the party?
Well, I was listening to Christy there share the origins of Bitcoin and how far it goes back, and I think that's amazing. And I say amazing because earlier today, I had forgotten this, but the coin XRP did not start in 2008. It was more like 2004 or earlier.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, 2004. And I had forgotten about that. So, when I think back to my earliest exposure to the crypto space, which was Bitcoin, and it was back in 2009, I forget that these things started way before they came to the public and succeeded and stood the test of time. As Christy was pointing out just moments ago, they're all centralized. It's like, yep, that's how they feel when there's only 1 or 2 captains driving the boat.
Yeah,
doesn't work for the rest of the world.
That's right. I don't know how the Fed slipped through all of that, but yes, it's not appreciated the next time around.
They want to keep control of the ship too, don't they?
They do. They want to keep their view. I'll leave it nicely like that. Their view and direction where they want to go and what they want to see take place locally, nationally, globally. And I would say right now in this time, there's always been that public, we've had enough of this, we've had enough of that. But I think technology has really helped us connect globally via internet. And now our voices are not only heard, but our actions can be taken simultaneously to not really mutiny, but we're doing that in a different way. We're like, you know what? We're going to build our own ship on this ship, and then we're just going to go somewhere else.
Yep.
Right.
Whether you like it or not, and that's what's taking place. And I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible that we're living during this time. Like I'm super excited that I even started paying attention to this several years ago. And I mean, I've come a long way for sure. I'm by no means an expert, but I definitely have many more hours than a lot of folks that I know. And so, I know better than to put all my eggs in one basket and that sort of thing. But I'm super excited for the future. And like you said, Simon, the fact that we're able to communicate so freely and to move money around like we do information, like we do an email, right? You can send an email to somebody and boom, they've got it. You can send somebody XRP, Bitcoin, many other tokens or coins instantaneously. And that is just amazing without a middleman. Now, I've been paying attention to the regulation. I listened to the hearings, and in the big push and Christy and I were talking about this, that we were going to kind of touch on this subject, with what's kind of going on in the world, and the history of money, and how, with every fall of one form of money, there always seems to be a war that happens, like devastation, that comes along, just like we're seeing now. And damn it, does that make me mad? They
Hey,
build.
it's also part of the fourth turning. It says
Right.
right in there, it ends in crisis, and
Right.
crises are usually war.
But yeah, I just think about it all, and I'm just like, damn
Yeah,
you people
that's
that
right.
that sacrifice, like you're willing to sacrifice human life, to play your little game that you've played with all of us. We've been lied to so much, and sorry, but I've been looking into so many things, and the more that I look into, the more I realize that I've been lied to, and I'm like, really, man? Like I've been on this kick of watching some shows where the guy's going over our history and buildings, right? And he went to Kansas City, he went to Detroit, he went to all these different places. I'll have to send it to you. But it's like, your reasonable mind, when you look at these buildings, does your reasonable mind really tell you that what they told you your history is truth? Like, what are the possibilities that this was built in 1871 or 1815 or whatever? Like during the greatest depression that we had, they were able to build these magnificent buildings with just like ridiculousness of. I don't know. I don't know. And we bought it. We buy it. We were just like, yo, tell me another lie. I'll listen to you. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it has to do with news sources. I mean, the Walter Cronkites of the world, right? They were trustworthy people, or were they? But that was our only source of really having that kind of information besides word of mouth. I mean, when broadcast television became available, I mean, that changed everything in many ways. We received communication and we took it wholeheartedly, as if, well, why would they lie to us? These people are out on the front lines.
Exactly.
Or are they really? But they're sending the story back to us. Whereas, on the nefarious side of things, the nefarious planners are saying, look, this technology that we have. Look how we can control the masses. We can control the narrative. We can control the people by what we say. And
yeah,
it has evolved into this point right now. Is like, it's crazy. And if you haven't come to terms with this, I really don't know how to help you otherwise than to just say, get to know your neighbors really well, because when things go bad, you might need your neighbors who are awake.
I'm sorry.
I was trying to be nice about this, Simon, but yeah.
No. I heard a meme that I read a few memes. It was a few weeks ago, and I'm not really into memes, but I happened to be scrolling through a feed, and it was on X actually, and it went something like this: if you don't already have one, you're gonna need a conspiracy theorist friend real soon to understand what's going on. And
True.
I laughed at that because
it's true.
it's true. You're gonna need someone that goes, I didn't think that was possible, but that was me limiting myself and my gaze. Right, I had a very focused gaze instead of a broad gaze of really taking everything in, trying to remove my emotion, which, by the way, that's a really hard part.
Right.
And see things for what they truly are, and then make a decision of how to move forward from that. But yeah, you're definitely going to need someone who is aware of the things that have happened, say the past 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
On even at a local level, just kind of, one person could go out and just on the money side of life, inflation, we all agree prices on everything have skyrocketed, and most of us that were around for 2008, 2009, 2010, that were blessed enough to have a job, or lost their job, we've already been down this road in some manner of speaking. And here it is again. So if you weren't awake then,
Yeah.
then you should find someone that went through that and listen and talk to each other. Or yes, definitely find someone that is aware of these things that are going on, and actually probably has some good practices in place that you can see. The person that's doing things different than everybody else,
Yep.
is probably who you should probably at least talk to, in my opinion.
Simon, you mentioned something really important there, is that back in 2008, 2009, there were many people that were having mental crises because of what happened. And I think what's going to be happening when our awakening comes, the grand awakening, may not be this year, but I think it's going to be next for sure. I mean, we're right on the cusp of it. There are going to be people that the decisions they've made are going to be so unbearable for them once they realize what it has cost them. It might actually cost them a family member's life because of their decisions. And this has a lot to do with medications we've been forced to take and that type of thing. And it's going to be devastating. And we just got to be there and love thy neighbor, but not in that way. Love them and support them and feed them if you have to.
I think that there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to be very upset.
I do too.
Well, they already are. Some of them already are. I'm starting to see more and more where people, they're regretting their decisions.
Yeah.
And that is, I made my own decision for my own personal reasons. And I will just love up on them. You know what I mean? The people that are, that do regret their decisions that they made. But I mean, there's a lot of people, I think you're right, Christy, that are going to be emotionally scarred because of their stance on it, and particularly encouraging children and pregnant women to take something that wasn't fully tested. There's going to be a psychological issue with more and more people coming.
It could be from a vaccine. It could be from affirming your child's dysphoria.
Yes.
Rather than treating it for what it really is that they need some mental health help and not some mutilator that's going to give them these drugs that are going to alter them and maybe harm them for the rest of their life, rather than giving them the mental health help that they need. And it's the times we're in. It's incredible. But I think we're going to have that awakening at some point in time. There are already countries that have already gotten there. We just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
So,
I'd like to turn that around though, a little bit, on what what you just talked about, Christy, and Melissa, about the choices that people have made, and as opposed to going to the same old route we have been guided to do, to now go the real health way. And technology, though, is here to help us this time if we choose it. And what I mean by that is connection, like right here, right now. Your guys' radio show, it's on AM and only broadcast so far. If it wasn't for the internet and platforms, we couldn't reach even farther, all the way around the world right now. And so those that, as you stated, Christy, those countries that have already kind of hit that wall and that are turning the corner now as a community, yet here, I'm just going to say in my area, which is the Great Northwest, where we haven't hit the wall yet, as a community. but we have the internet to connect with those that have, and listen to those that made the turn before us. Even though they're screaming right now, turn now, turn now, turn now, so you don't have to go through what we went through. You know,
Right. True.
But
that's the marvel of our time we're in right now. It's just like that. It's amazing times. It's the technology that I think is going to bring us through this. The technology can harm us. It can also bring us through it.
Yep.
Knowledge
Absolutely.
is power, though. The more that we educate ourselves and try to help others understand, the better that we can protect ourselves from allowing things to go too far. You know,
yes.
I mean, we're trying to understand the best that we can, with realizing that, you know, the powers that be want that power, right? They want to keep that power going. But the decentralized nature of all of this, and you know, getting more and more people up to speed, I think that for the first time in forever, we have a fighting chance to stop the ultimate control. You know,
Yes, definitely. We can. We have to learn how. I mean, that control mechanism is going to continue. They're going to get as far as many people will allow.
Yeah.
But there are many people who will work parallel to that. And that's the beauty about having shows like this and having people jump on the show, like Simon, who's doing his own education and awareness with people. That's what we all do, right? We're all talking and to each other, and it's spreading the word, and we're waking people up. And that's a wonderful thing. And we'll be able to work parallel to what's going on. And so we can jump in and out of the matrix when we need to. The problem is when you're stuck in the matrix and you want to get out of it and you can't. And
Yeah.
that's what a CBDC will bring. That's what control mechanisms will be. That's when you have to rely on the government for all of your ability to sustain yourself. So buy some Bitcoin, have some XRP. Yes, you got to have that. You know, and if when you have to get your CBDC wallet because you're going to get your tax refund or something that way, that's when you step into the matrix.
Well, and you know, I've been thinking of